I am getting tired of sketchy independent publishing houses.
Yes, it's becoming more prevalent recently.
It seems that a lot of people get into the publishing world with these high in the sky apple pie dreams where they want to fucking print and publish and do all this, and then they immediately get overwhelmed and then do a very shit job of going through submissions and having calls and doing all that stuff. And I know this because I've worked with some small publishers who do a great job of this. Like Starlight Pulp, for instance. They have a small team, yet they seem to do everything very well. They have their expectations right where they need them to be. So they're like, hey, we're going to end this around the end of September. We're not going to give you an exact date because we might have to keep reading stories. And you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to say, this is the exact date, submissions close. And then that date comes and then they go, well, it turns out that we are going to extend submission. Like, they don't do that shit. They just, when we're full, we're closed.
Right. And it also seems like, well, also too, because we just recently find out about them. You were in volume 6 or issue 6, right? Is that the one you were in?
Yeah.
6? And then they're taking submissions for 7. So they've been at this at a while. So they've
got a system in place.
Yeah, and I'm sure that when they started out, they probably started out very slow. That's what I was going to say. I think that's the one thing that we did correctly with podcasting and just writing in general. We did the baby, we
started small and worked our way up.
We crawled before we started to walk, and now we're at the speed walk and trying to get into the running phase.
Yeah, but there are a few, and I'm not going to name them. Some I've been published by, some I have been rejected erroneously by publishers who are not doing a very good job of either doing the submissions or putting out the work that is already set for publication.
Yeah.
There are some, I'm not going to name any, you might have a little more personal. Actually, I do too.
Yeah.
I'm in these things sometimes that just like random mass releases of backlog of things that were supposed to already be published. Like they were published without promotion and nobody knew they came out.
Right.
Like one of the horror group I'm in, people were talking about like, oh, I was in this anthology. I didn't even know it came out 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Because it was only published or it was only promoted today.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
Yeah, I was going to say, you have more experience with that than me just because the sheer amount of more submitting you have done to different places and stuff like that than I have.
And again, it would be one thing if this was just like the shitty norm for these kind of things, but I've got Dark Home Publication, Dark Home Publication. They do their promo like 6 months, 8 months in advance.
Yeah.
So like this, something's coming out in October. You're going to hear about that almost in the wintertime previous.
The Wicked Shadows, they do a good
they're always posting stuff. They had a little hiccup there last year when I was in their Halloween thing where they had like a falling out with Amazon or something. I think they got banned from Amazon.
Yeah.
Probably because they were putting out books, but since they're set in India, they must have got like auto-botted. They got like auto-botted algorithm bullshit. But they always are posting in their stories and say, here's what we got coming out. Hellbound Books does that. Here's another one I'm going to shit on, even though I'm going to submit to something else to them. Dragon Soul Press, mainly because I don't think they have Instagram. Like they have Instagram, but they don't use it anymore.
Right, yeah.
And that's the main thing I use. Like on Facebook, they continue, but their promotion's very hit or miss. It's like some books they really want to promote, and other books they're just like, meh.
Yeah.
But again, when I got into that Beautiful Darkness Volume 2, they had fucking 2 hurricanes at the same time, and they're like, I guess where they had to send out their work to like the hired guns, So they had, I don't know if it was a firm or just random people in. I have no idea how that worked, but they hired contractors, and those contractors did no promotion for the book I was in, and that infuriated me because that was one of my biggest stories ever. As of now, when I see that they do promote stuff, but it's just like it's hit or miss. Like sometimes these publishers, which I will say, both them and Hellbound Books, Hellbound seems to do better. Like they're constantly they have a book come out. You'll see that for like a month or two before they get to the next one. Dragon Soul seems like, I think maybe they put out too many books.
Right, yeah.
And they don't give enough time for each one. And that's where some of these other publications I've been in, that's their problem. Like the one I was just mentioning about having books come out and then 3 months later they promote it. And it's like, oh, sorry, we got backed up. It's because they're putting out one every month.
Right, yeah.
It's like you can't keep up.
Right, yeah.
Especially if it's like a 1 or maybe at most 5-person team.
Yeah, and two, you are like you're oversaturated in the market with your own stuff.
Well, I've seen I can't remember the name, but there was a couple kind of like the Sirens Call people, but not them, but because they end up ultimately having to go under. But like different publications that are on that level, I've seen them actually do call outs where they're like, hey, we're actually going to roll back production. We got too much shit. We signed too many authors. We put out too many anthologies, too much work all at the same time. In real life, a lot of these people still have real jobs too, and they're doing this like on the side is like their passion. But then you like even with DPW is like we used to end up we're only focusing on the website.
Yeah,
like, we didn't do any of our own writing because we were doing all these submissions and shit. And it's like, so I can't imagine having like actual books come out, like physical books and shit. So I like when they go back and like, hey, we're scaling back and we're going to do less. Like I always think less is more.
I mean, you even in the professional, like that's a thing to be worried about. Either just with promotion, because we've always talked about the horror stories of, authors who they get a big publisher deal and like they still have to do all the promoting and stuff themselves. So even like the big publishers
do that shit. Yeah,
don't promote.
They don't want to pay a team to do it anymore
or anything like that. And then to go back to like we were saying the less is more. That's like I've been saying that's been a big issue like in like the comic field recently is because like there's a lot of good books out there. But it's almost to the point of where it's like it's too much.
You can't keep up.
And you can't keep up. You don't know what to, you don't know who to read, what to read. Like it almost becomes overwhelming to a point.
That is like a double-edged sword because when you have that many books come out, usually it's the top of the top, like the best of the best is going to be the one that people end up buying and focusing on. So you do get that. But then you also the other edge is you'll miss out on some good stuff just because it's not up there. But also, usually the names. So, if you got Jeff Lemire, even if the book's not as good as something else that's by a lesser known writer or team, you're going to get the Jeff Lemire book. So, don't fucking publish that much stuff. Who does a good job of that is Mad X Media because they're the ones that did the readings from Cursed Room 301 I was in. They put out a book and then they fucking promote the shit out of that. I feel like it's like 6 months. So if you're a signed author or something, you're going to get that's all they're promoting. But then it's like, well, now they're going to get a lot more sales on that book than if they put a book out every month and a half, every 2 months. It's like, oh, look at our giant library. Yeah, but now you oversaturated your own market. So people either have to pick and choose what books they get or like me, I'm just not going to get any. Yeah. It's too much. That's why I stopped reading comics for the most part. It's like there's too many. So if you have one book, so like if I'm an author and even if I'm publishing my own book, I'm going to publish my own book and promote that for most of the year and try to get that to sell a lot and get a lot of readers versus I'm going to put up like which we've seen from romance writers that we talked to. We put out a book every month. How are you selling any of them?
Right. Yeah.
Unless you have some diehard fucking fans, they're not going to buy 12 books a year from you. Like they're not going to be able to keep up.
I just even know it's just like with Stephen King, like having like 2 to 3 books a year. It's like
it's too fucking much, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I always hear these. Like when I'm in the bookstore, I'll see books and I'll look. I'm like, I never heard of this one. And I look and it's a new Stephen King book. I didn't even know it came out because I didn't even know the last 3 came out.
Yeah.
Like this is just too much. So that's a big issue in the publishing world. But going back to the original gripe, we'll end this cold open with this: open submissions. Yeah. If you're gonna have open submissions, I just feel it is your duty, especially if you're fucking charging people, to submit. Because I've had that happen. That's what really pisses me off. The one I'm bitching about is free, but it's like they didn't read it in time.
Yeah.
And then you just get a kind of a generic rejection. And you can usually tell when that happens. And it sucks. And you want some honesty. Just like, oh, sorry, we couldn't get to it. Or either resubmit it for the next open call or we'll just consider it for the next open call. That would be nice. But usually they get oversaturated with submissions and then they just don't read them all or they don't give a fair shake to all of them, which again, if you're a small team, especially if it's just one person, a lot of these ones you don't even realize are just 1 or 2 people, you're not going to get a fair shake and that sucks. But the ones that really piss me off are the like submittable ones where it's like, oh, I paid $3, $5, $6.
And then just to get ghosted more or less.
Get ghosted. You're in progress for fucking 2 years or just in received for years. And the worst one though is when they finally get to you and you know they didn't read it. They're just like, yeah, we've been sitting on these for so long, we just hired an intern to go through and just fucking mass reject everybody. And it's like, that's fucking sketchy, man. They paid for that.
Yeah.
If you're paying, like, again, Starlight Pulp, they're like, hey, you guys are paying for submissions. We read every submission. Full story.
Well, and that's what we were saying about them is like how they seem to do one almost like a quarter a year. Like, so like every 3 or 4 months, they have an issue out and they're either then promoting that issue and then as that starts to wean out, promotion for the next issue comes out, and then it comes out and you promote it after it comes out, and like, you know what I mean? So
and then what works for them is in between or coinciding with submission periods, they're usually promoting some book.
Yeah.
But like an actual book, not another anthology. So it's separate. So if you got people that just want the review, they could focus on the review and you're not getting too many of those. Or if you want a book, like you could do both.
And they also have a merch.
Well, yeah, they got cool merch too. But just like, I feel like that's better. It's like, oh, I want to read the next review, short stories, but then they also have like a crime book coming out. So it's like, oh, I can do both of those because those are different things.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of these places like, we're going to put out 8 anthologies this year and a bunch of books. I was like, that's too much. But anyway, folks, we have a shitty episode for you today. I don't have a shit. Probably. DBS. We're going to, again, we're just procrastinating the 200th episode because our plan was to promote some work from authors that we have worked with or are friends with or any of the above. I just haven't had time to do any research.
We're teasing.
Teasing?
We're teasing.
Tickling the
the
testes?
We're building up the anticipation for
That's not the word. Anticipation. You forgot the S.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Hunter S. Thompson. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me, as always, Spencer, the Puerto Rican Poon Pumler Church.
Oh,
couldn't do it that loud. Puerto Rican Poon Pumler. It's a hard one to say. Try saying that. Poon Pumler.
Poon Pumler.
I'm reading Hunter S. Thompson's The Rum Diary. Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
Not really enjoying it.
No?
It's like Fear and Loathing, but since, I don't know, because it's like, it might be his first book, but I don't think, it came out Johnny Depp, I think, put it out, actually.
Okay.
Maybe after Hunter S. Thompson died. Like, it was an old book. But it's set in the 50s. I think it was written in the 60s. But it's like Fear and Loathing, but without all, like, the cool, memorable bits. Like, there's, like, some... Like, the language is still there and the nonsense, but...
So, is it like, full fictional? Like, is he...
Yeah, he's, like... He's Paul Kemp. It's the protagonist.
Okay.
I think it's just, like, one of those deals where it's probably Hunter S. Thompson, but it just, like, made up names.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like you said before reading things. It's like, it's not like I'm hating it or anything. It's just like I'm not excited when I go to read it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to read the next chapter. It's like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like I said, I thought I was going to be done by now, but it's just, I get like 5, 10, maybe at best I'll read a chapter a day and I'm just like, but I'm not even 100 pages in. It's not a long book. So I don't know. Also probably because it was on the back of like 2 really good books I read.
Right.
So I'm like not so thrilled.
And then you also just read that weird, like that little short story collection thing that you also bought.
What was it?
The
Screwjack.
Yeah, and you was also saying that was not the greatest either.
Yeah, that was weird. But that was more interesting than the Rum Diary so far.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into the Rum Diary, but we are talking Hunter S. Thompson specifically, and we might have done something like this before.
Yeah.
This is from our friends over at No Film School, which sounds like the exact thing we probably... No, this just came out today?
Ooh.
August 15, 2025? Is that today?
No.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
3 writing tips from Hunter S. Thompson, written by Jason Hellerman. I never mind cribbing articles like this because they're literally tips from a dead guy.
Yeah.
So this guy just cribbed tips from Hunter S. Thompson. I'm not going to do the intro because we've done Hunter S. Thompson a few times on this show, so you know him.
You know, the drugs and the...
If not, you can do one of our fucking Book of the Month episodes. I think we did Fear and Loathing. You can do, I'm sure we've done maybe even the tips episode. I don't know. But number 1, do you know what the number 1 tip from Hunter S. Thompson is? Don't say do drugs.
Oh, right.
Become the story. The Heart of Gonzo. Ooh, there's a Brian Cox reads Hunter S. Thompson. I want to watch that sometime. Not here. At the core of Thompson's revolutionary style was the demolition of the traditional wall between observer and participant. He jumped into first-person narrative and made himself the story with Gonzo journalism. I think that's the one thing that is bugging me about the Rum Diary is that so far everything I've read of Hunter S. Thompson is him basically first person in the story, and it's just almost like reading fictionalized biography. And at some point that gets a little like, come on, tell a story now.
Yeah.
Like tell a story that's not you or fake you.
No, did he because he worked for like a paper, right?
I think he wrote for a bunch of things, newspapers. I think he did work for Rolling Stone. That was with Fear and Loathing.
So like he was almost kind of like Ernest Hemingway, like how he used to, like he was a writer.
He was a
journalist before he became an author. But it seems like Thompson kind of more stayed in the journalist kind of.
Yeah, whereas Hemingway
journalistic fiction.
Yeah, but Gonzo journalism. Yeah. He invented the genre, essentially, because Hemingway wrote in the journalistic style, but he was writing full fiction. Characters, I mean, a lot of people say, well, this is still based on Hemingway and his life, but he actually did not like that. He hated when people would be like, oh, all he does is write about his life and stuff. And he's like, no, these are fictional characters. It's just maybe I, as all writers do, dabble into their experiences, but he was still writing fictionalized stories, whereas Hunter S. Thompson is embellishing real life stories, I believe, which is fine. It's just, you know, like Fear and Loathing is still one of my all-time favorite books, but I could see that style get like if we read Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail, and it's just like, all right, are you writing the same thing? Just, you know.
Well, and also too, like that's the first thing you've read. Like, like if you read the Rum Diaries first.
Well, it's like Vonnegut. We read Slaughterhouse-Five first,
and
then read his other stuff. They're never going to compare, even if they're really good. But Thompson's Kentucky Derby piece for Scanlan's Monthly dragged the reader through a debauched, whiskey-soaked personal journey that captured the cultural zeitgeist in a way no detached report ever could. Now, how does this apply to filmmakers? I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker, so I'm not going to read this. Skip to the next one. Number 2. If you folks want to read about filmmaking and the information they have with that, again, no film school. 3 writing tips from Hunter S. Thompson. I didn't know this was about filmmaking. I didn't know this was film school until I clicked on the article. Number 2, this was just a Google recommendation. Fucking last second pick. We were going to do sci-fi books, but it was too in-depth. And I was like, I don't want a long episode. Tired of long episodes. Everybody's tired of them. Everybody's tired of me.
Yeah.
They want me in a dumpster. They want to throw me and murder me in a well.
They want me in a van down by the river.
Any of those things are fine with me because life is hard. Can we talk about life?
Yeah. Well, you were just talking about one in a short episode, but sure.
I find that everything is ridiculously hard and stupid now. Here's my piece. Here's my rant of the day.
Everything's up to 11.
Yeah, but
everybody's coming in hot.
Spencer, let me throw a scenario out for you. At one time in this country, you could just go to the beach and float in the ocean and nobody bothers you.
Yeah.
You can just fucking drink some hooch and ride a horse.
Mm-hmm.
You could shoot a gun even if you wanted in the woods. Nobody bothered you. Can't do anything now without permission.
You could sit on a bench looking out at the ocean taking pictures.
And nobody would bother you. But now you have to have licenses, and government overreach has extended beyond anything I could imagine outside of like a 1984 or, you know, Brave New World or any of these dystopian future books. But here's my problem. We could all be picking berries and shooting elk and just living high on the hog, but we chose to pay taxes and have credit scores and work shit jobs. But that's the thing. None of us actually chose that. It was chosen for us by the elites.
Yeah.
Class consciousness. Let's revolt. Can we say that? How can you nicely say, I want to murder the elite in the street publicly? Guillotine France.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of like, isn't that the whole like eat the rich kind of thing? Like,
yes. Well, I forget the exact quote and who said it. I'm sure it's been attributed wrong, like most quotes, to all kinds of people over the years.
It's probably part of a bigger quote.
I'm sure it might even be one of those quotes that actually means the opposite. But, you know, what has been adopted essentially is some rich fuck talking about poor people and they don't work hard enough. And then the poor people essentially saying, well, if we don't have any food and we can't buy food, then we only have one option, and that is to eat the rich.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I don't want to eat these stinky fucks, but I'll murder them in the street with a hatchet.
You know what gets me is when they you hear politicians talking about the birth rate being down. We need to up the birth rate. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Every fucking issue, at least in the United States of America, always goes back to one thing, fucking greed. Like, okay, the birth rate's down and we need to get rid of abortion so we have more baby. Fucking get the root of the problem. Why are people having abortions for the most part?
Or just don't like
want to have kids.
Yeah, it's like it's not that people. I don't think a lot of people are like, I don't want to have kids. I mean, I know there's people who don't want to have kids, but yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people who's like, I would want to have kids, but I know that I can't. I wouldn't be able to do a good job because I can't afford anything for it. Like
everybody, all these rich fucks are always bitching about, oh, not enough workers and all this shit. We need more American workers and we need more kids. And make it so things are affordable again. Stop having fucking BlackRock buy every house and then renting it for quadruple the price of a mortgage. Like, you fucking assholes have made life completely unlivable in this country now, unaffordable for, I would say, the working man that makes less than $250,000 a year. If you're trying to be reasonable and say raise a family comfortably, like, just to think that, okay, what the fucking conservative asshole vision of this country is man goes to work, wife stays at home, has babies, cooks, you have a nice house that gets paid off relatively quickly, you have at least one nice vehicle, and you can take multiple vacations a year. Just the most simplistic American dream, and they think like that's what they want, but then it's like, how do you fucking afford that? You can't. I don't know anybody that could do that. Maybe some fucking guys that work for energy companies. Yeah. Or guys that's like, oh yeah, I work 120 hours a week. Congratulations on having a life.
That, or like it's both the man, the husband and the wife both having to work.
And who's raising the kid?
Yeah. School.
But then they want to cut all the teacher's power to do anything. You know what? We're done. Number 2 on this tip from Hunter S. Thompson, how to write. Type your way to a master's rhythm. So this one's interesting. They have videos attributed to these too, which I like. So this one's a Hunter S. Thompson Omnibus, 1978. I don't know what he's discussing something. Long before he was a literary icon, Hunter S. Thompson was a student of the greats. Also, you know what I'd like to say? Hunter S. Thompson, massive underachiever, I think, for his talent.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think of his books, like other than Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and maybe the Campaign Trail one, most people like can't name Hunter S. Thompson works.
No.
Screwjack is, I think that was released after his death. That's not really a work. The Rum Diary, like I said, I think that was released after his death. He doesn't really have a lot of books, you know? So I think he, as good as he was as a writer, did grossly underachieved for what his skill. Like, he could easily been like a Bradbury level, output, but drinking and drugging.
When we did one episode, the old episode we did when we went through his daily activity.
Yeah, it was outrageous. In a now famous anecdote, Thompson sat down and retyped F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby and Ernest Hemingway's The Farewell to Arms word for word so he could understand the rhythm of great writing. We talked about that before, which is an interesting prospect. Now, I don't think you need to do that. This is the feller who wrote this article. Now, I don't think you need to do that, but you should be reading as much as you can. I agree with that. You should be watching as much as you can, take in the greats and see how they do things, and then it goes into TV and movies. The rhythm thing is interesting. The only problem I would see with doing something like that, say you're writing The Great Gatsby out, you're going to fall into F. Scott Fitzgerald's rhythm, language, the whole deal. Same with, especially like a writer like Hemingway. It's good if you're young and you're just trying to get your voice, but you need to learn how to write and get a rhythm first. That's a good practice. But as you get older, I would not, or get more mature as a writer, I would not do that.
No.
Reading, yes. The writing out your favorite.
And then also too, I feel like that's like you're burning all your time just retyping something else.
Yeah.
So by the time like you get done doing that, you're like, oh well, I don't want to go, and then I'm tired. I don't want to go back, do my own work.
Well, you're talking about a time period too. The like they have three TV channels.
Fair, yeah.
No entertainment worth biting in other than drugs. 3, find your own damn voice. Oh, got to throw damn in there. And then you got a clip from Conan, it looks like. So, Throughout his career, Thompson was a staunch advocate for writing with a singular, unapologetic voice. He raised against the idea of catering to an imagined audience or a sanitized editorial standard. That's what I've fallen into, which why nobody reads my stuff anymore. Because I write for me and I don't care about the audience. And if you don't care at least some bit about the audience, as Nicholas Obregon told me once very smartly, when I was discussing the novel I was working on at the time, if you're not trying to get a publisher, who are you going to be selling this to? Probably middle-aged housewives in suburbia. So, not saying you have to cater your writing to them, but make it palatable to them to a degree. So if you're going to write like a fucking Thomas Pynchon or, David Foster Wallace or something, they're probably not going to read your work. Which is why I still appreciate Cormac McCarthy, because he just floundered in obscurity for like 20 years and didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then after he became famous, still didn't give a fuck. I'm writing the books I'm writing.
Yeah.
I don't care who reads them. And you know what? 98% of middle-aged or even younger housewives in suburbia are reading McCarthy.
No.
So his audience, the art crowd.
Well, could you imagine fucking reading like fucking Blood Meridian and then have to go feed fucking Junior? Like, you just like, what's the point of this?
Reading Blood Meridian during the break at a soccer game.
Yeah.
You don't have to curse or do drugs or be an ass. You just need to find who you are. Okay, so we get the gist of that. That's the article. So you should find your own voice and be your authentic self. I agree with that. That there are some people whose authentic voice is asshole.
You should have an authentic voice, but you should also be able to have multiple voices.
I was going to bring that up. That's a very good point. I think to be an established writer in the Lord's year of 2025, it's not the Lord's year, there's no Lord Cthulhu maybe. You should definitely be
Lord Crumb.
Yeah, you should have what I would say is a schizophrenic voice.
Yeah.
You should be able to have multiple personalities. So horror writing, Caleb, while stylistically might be the same as fantasy, Caleb, as far as how I go about my process of writing, the voice. There's a horror Caleb voice. There's a fantasy Caleb. Like, I have different voices. You'll still know it's me, but you'll be like, oh, that's fantasy Caleb. Like that. So, and I could do some genre bending, which is interesting, because then I can write, a horror fantasy kind of deal where it's like, wow, that's interesting. And he's using his horror voice in a fantasy setting. It makes it completely different. But and it's hard to really describe this. You'd just have to read the work. But I think it's important to be able to have multiple voices, but still all of them are very distinctly you.
That's what I was gonna say about like the last story that I just finished that we sent out to get submitted. The one thing I did like about that is that it was something pretty different than all my previous stuff. Like, all my other stuff has been very kind of horror based. This is more kind of like a pulpy action adventure kind of thing,
which I feel suits you a little better.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's no secret. You're not, like, the biggest horror guy. As far, like, you read a lot of Stephen King, obviously, but even so, like, how much of that is actually horror?
Yeah.
Really. I'd say more non-horror than horror. Just as early works, really.
If anything, it's more suspenseful or anything.
Thriller, or maybe supernatural. Do you feel, because I think this, but it's obviously more important if you think this, do you feel that with the last two stories you've completed and sent off, you've better establish your own voice?
I feel like it.
Do you feel like you're starting to nail it a little bit? It takes a while.
Yeah, voice, and then but I also feel like, and I guess this would be part of it, but just the storytelling.
Yeah. my
ability, or to tell the story, or at least to tell more complete, less, because
instead of focusing on just scenes, you've been able to broaden out to the full picture,
and then have like a story that takes place over like multiple scenes with different, and have different characters, and takes place more than just like a day, you know what I mean, trying just to do more different things like that. I do feel like,
well, you've been adding more tools to your toolbox. And from my perspective, it seems like you finally started to nail down your own writing process.
Yeah.
Like, so you're better able to, which I think which shows with your output as of the last like 6 months. Yeah. You've been able to nail down on the writing process that helps you establish the way you write stories. So it's like, now I know how to do my beginning, middle, and end of the story, but the way I actually go about writing, I'm able to do it faster and get... You're able to focus more on the the meat, than you get the bones down quick, and then you're able to build on the meat a lot quicker than you used to, because I think you've just better established the way you do it.
And and then because the last couple of things they've been bigger stuff, so like they've taken a little bit longer and stuff, which was another thing that I was wanting to do this year, was try to focus, not focus, but try to get out like the smaller flash fiction, 2,000-3,000 word stories, to more like I'm getting close to like 7,000 to 8,000 words, and just trying to,
which also helps with being able to tell fuller stories.
Yeah,
because flash fiction and very short stories, they can't really tell. Again, that's more of a scene.
Mm-hmm.
You're focusing more on scene work. So now that you're able to actually tell whole stories, you might even be coming close to the problem of me of like, now I got to learn how to keep the word count lower,
right?
And tell a whole story.
That or just be like try to figure out a way to full blown novella, like as like maybe like the next thing, but that's still probably a little bit down the way for me. I think you're probably closer to the novella stage than I am.
Yeah. Well, one thing that really blew me away was when last time you were over here, you were reading just the beginning of the news story you're working on, is how quickly you've been able to go into more detail on the first draft.
Yeah.
Because it used to be more bare bones. You're just kind of telling what's happening and stuff. But now you're like focusing almost on like, oh, when I get to the second pass or third pass, like this is already complete.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the details and stuff, you're not going to change unless you want to maybe try to improve a little, but you already have like how you want it to be. And now you're just focusing on, better building the scenes and whatnot. So that's really cool to actually see in firsthand.
Well, that's from I contribute that from coming over
after the editing session,
and stuff. So it's like, oh well, I gotta try to start doing more of this. So I'm taking up less of Caleb's time and energy, so he can get some stuff done.
Well, you also got to see like how my process is of going about editing and stuff, and just like I think what's more important, the slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been able to like see how I, even though this first page is already complete, when we do the next editing session, I still go back and read it.
Right.
And often, more than not, I can tweak a little.
Yeah.
I'm still tweaking. So that way, by the time the final pass comes, like that is so polished and perfect, you don't have to touch it.
Well, that's like you were talking about my writing thing, and it's like other than like on the weekends, I'm still having trouble hitting like the word counts that I want to get. But like as you're saying, I feel like what I do get down is fuller,
more concrete
than previous, first drafts. So like hopefully even if it does take me longer, that hopefully like you were saying, when it times to do like, second, third edits, that hopefully that won't take as long and be as much as the process as it has in the past.
Yeah, the time consuming nature of it will definitely be diminished. Because like that's how I go about my stories. Like even like what I read you earlier is like a lot of that's probably gonna stay, and that's like the very early first draft. Unless the story itself changes, a lot of the details are gonna be there already. So if you have the details down that you want, all it is a matter of reworking things and making sure the story falls in line.
Yeah.
So I always enjoy that process. Like I said, I'm a better editor than I am an initial story writer. Like the initial draft is always like unless it's like a story that I'm just like, sometimes they just flow out of you.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I find that I struggle. Like I will have sprints. So it's like, oh man, I got fucking 5 pages today. Like, I'm almost done. And then all of a sudden I hit a fucking drag. But it's funny because once I finish the story finally and I go back, I have no idea. Like, I mean, I know where the drag was, but like if somebody read it, they're not going to know that this fucking particular paragraph or scene took me a month for no reason. Like the story, that one horror story I have, like I literally have like 2 paragraphs left. I cannot fucking write it. Like it's just like I even know where it's going. I just cannot write it. I don't know why. But then I also had a problem. Like most of that story flowed out of me within like a week or 2.
Right.
And then I hit one scene where it probably took 3 months. Like I just couldn't fucking get it. And then once I finally got where I wanted, that finally came out. I got over that hump and it was fine. And then it's just the very ending. So I do find a lot of my stories, they follow that suit. Though I am happy to say that most of the stories I'm most proudest of and the longer ones that I think are really good, even though I'm having fucking trouble placing them because they're like they're that weird line between literary and genre. And also the length doesn't help probably. They're like around 8,000 words. But all those stories, I didn't have those problems. Like I just they just flew out of me. And I wonder if that's because all those stories for the most part are a focus on language. And since I just enjoy the language and doing that so much, it was easier to write versus if I'm just going into this is how the scene unfolds. If I'm not enjoying the way I'm telling it as much, it's harder. Like say, oh well, this is a more basic horror story. I'm not fancying it up, so I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about the language. I just have to tell the story. And then like that, it almost like it bores me.
Right.
Even though those are more popular, like with the readers, like people read those and they, oh, I love it. And it's like, I guess. like the Stephen King kind of stuff. Like you read a Stephen King, it's like, oh, that flows really good. But you're never, for the most part, you're not like, wow, that was like, man, that passage, I have to go back and reread.
Right,
That was beautiful. No, you're just like, it's the more, the complete story that you're focusing on. So that's like, again, the horror voice. Caleb's horror voice is usually different than my other voices, but I definitely enjoy like the language aspect when it comes to the first draft. I get those out quicker, which is weird because they're significantly harder.
Yeah.
It's significantly more difficult to tell a story with a musicality that I find is just like the rhythm and all those things I focus on.
Maybe that it's harder for other people, but not for you. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's weird. Like for me, that's what's easier to write, even though it reads like it should be harder. But then the simple stuff is the stuff I struggle with.
Well, that's what I think with like the last couple of stories that the last story that I'm working on, the story that I'm working on now, it's kind of in a genre kind of that I'm more acknowledgeable with, I'm more tuned with. That I probably not that I like I said, not that I don't like hate horror, but like that that I more enjoy. So now it's just like. It's not the, like, oh, I don't know what the story is going to go. I can't. It's the, it's getting myself to the computer, to the laptop and writing. And if I can get myself to actually start writing, then I don't have any issues. It's the preamble and all that stuff to get to it.
Yeah, I always had that problem where it's like, once I start writing, usually it's all right. But it's just like, even if it's just, oh, the laptop's open, I just got to fucking... get that. That's why, like, I find like the editing's easier because I already have the shit written, so I could just go back into it and just immediately start. I dive right back in and start swimming. Versus, I gotta wade into this ice cold water of the blank page, and then I have to get acclimated to it before I can do anything new. That's never fun.
No,
I mean, I'm sure some people enjoy that, but I'm not one of them. Anyway, that is an episode, Spencer.
It is. It is.
If you folks want to check us out on the internet at DPW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's it. You, Spencer Church, you're in Puerto Rico and you're pummeling poon. Could have said pounding, but I didn't. I said pummeling, like you're fucking speed bagging it. That's fucked up. That's definitely OnlyFans content.
Could it be Pumbas?
Pumbas?
Yeah.
Like Timon and Pumbaa?
Yeah. Like pummeling Pumas.
Or you mean Pumas like shoes?
Ooh, either one.
Or Pumas like the animal?
I was thinking more of the animal.
That's much more scary, probably, because they're big.
Yeah.
And they have teeth. Anyway, if you folks want to check out my work at CalebJamesK.com, you can check out my publication history. I do have my one story, Jupiter's Ascent, is on Page Gallery. Does that have a website name? I always fuck it up. You can go to Page Gallery on Instagram if you want to look, but if you go on my website, I have it. The newest link that you could just go on there. Yeah, just do that. But it's a Page Gallery journal, so that's a thing you can read for free. It's a pretty long story. I had trouble placing it because it's kind of weird. I didn't even reread it to see if I like it because it got to the point where I fucking hated it just from looking at it
so much.
Yeah. But it's essentially, it is an interesting backstory. I was watching that episode of It's Always Sunny when they were in Ireland, and Charlie has to drag his dead dad up the fucking mountain. His estranged dad who's dead. He has to like up a big mountain thing and throw him in the sea. And it takes a surprisingly dramatic, heartfelt turn before it goes back into ridiculous comedy. I was like, I want to read or write a story about a kid who has to drag his fucking dead dad up a mountain, Appalachian Mountains in this case, and have a conversation with the body and reminisce on ridiculous things that happened in the past, and a nice touch of comedy and mythology, Appalachian mythology. I don't know if I succeeded in that one. I never heard a good thing about it. I had one positive rejection from that story. It was the one that was like, why didn't they accept it? Because it was nothing but glowing. I was like, that was weird. But other than that, nobody's ever said anything about it. So I just assumed it sucked, or just nobody likes it. I should have had a clue when Bryce said he really liked it.
Oh.
And that was the only story of mine I think he ever really liked. Which makes me think, like, is everything he likes bad? Or is it just it's the actually only good thing I've ever written? I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah.
It could also just be the only thing he's ever read of yours, though.
Maybe, I don't know. That's possible. So if you want to check that story out, you can for free. It's an online thing. Their online gallery thing's really cool because my story's so long. I find it was kind of hard to read. It's like small print. So I don't know. Fuck, if you really want to, just message me and I'll send you the story to read for free. I don't care. I'll send you a PDF. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we will check you out next week.